It all started when Sophia and I were planning our wedding. We were excited. Everything was coming together, and our friends and families were equally thrilled. It was supposed to be a joyous time, but it turned out to be the beginning of a nightmare I never expected. I met Sophia through a book club I had been a part of for some time. It wasn't anything fancy, just a group of people who loved to read and discuss books. The first time I noticed her, she was sitting quietly in the corner, intently listening to the conversation. There was something about her calm demeanor that caught my attention. After the meeting, we ended up walking out together. I don't remember who spoke first, but we quickly started chatting about the book. From that point on, we always found reasons to talk more, sit closer, and spend more time together. Texting turned into calls, and soon we were sharing more personal things, slowly getting to know each other beyond our love for books. Eventually, we both admitted that there was something more between us. It felt natural, almost inevitable, and after a year of dating, I proposed. We quickly dove into wedding planning. It was an exciting and overwhelming time. Schedules to coordinate, outfits to pick, gifts to buy. Amidst all this, we decided to have separate bachelor and bachelorette parties, as a way to enjoy our last nights before getting married. Sophia's bachelorette party was planned for 2 days before the wedding. I didn't think much of it. She told me it would just be her and the girls, some drinks, and maybe a bit of fun at a club. I figured it was a laid-back evening with her friends. My bachelor party was at a nightclub, and it was exactly what I needed. A chance to let loose before the big day. I didn't worry about Sophia. I knew she was with her friends having a good time. As the night wore on, I saw an Instagram story from one of Sophia's friends. The girls were all dressed in matching pink robes, laughing and enjoying themselves at an Airbnb. I found it a little funny and cute. Around midnight, I sent her a quick text to check in. Just a simple "hope you're having fun. Love you." I didn't expect much, maybe a quick reply, but there was nothing. An hour later I checked again and still no response. What was even stranger was that her location was turned off. Sophia had never done that before. By 3 a.m., after wrapping up the bachelor party, I still hadn't heard from her. I figured she and the girls were probably passed out and I'd hear from her in the morning. But the next morning was when everything started to unravel. I woke up groggily to a call from my best friend, who was also going to be my best man at the wedding. Without even saying hello, he jumped straight into it. His girlfriend, who had been at the bachelorette party, came home earlier that morning in a state. She was disoriented, slurring her words, and barely able to explain what had happened. My best friend, concerned, had grabbed her phone and found something that made my stomach drop. He told me he didn't want to be the guy who stayed silent if it meant I'd be hurt later on. So he sent me the videos. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. In the first video, Sophia and the other bridesmaids were all gathered together, laughing and talking about how this was their last night of freedom. They were popping champagne, celebrating, and everything seemed fine. But the third video was when things took a turn. The atmosphere shifted, and I could tell something wasn't right. I wasn't prepared for what I was about to see next, and the realization that I was being kept in the dark about something that felt so wrong hit me harder than I could have ever imagined. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the video. It was a party bus and there were male strippers. I had to rewind the footage a few times to make sure I was seeing it correctly. In the center of it all was Sophia, completely caught up in the moment. The other girls were just as involved, laughing, touching the strippers, and having a good time. But the most disturbing part came in the final video. They were back from the club, and Sophia was the focus of everything. She was right between two strippers, and there was no denying what I saw. She was drunk. She was allowing herself to be handled by them in ways I couldn't even bring myself to describe. The other girls, also drunk, were encouraging her, cheering her on. It felt like everything I thought I knew about her was shattered. The friend who sent me the video must have known what it would do to me, and I didn't know how to process what I was seeing. I tried calling my best man, the one who sent me the videos, to thank him, but when he asked me, "What are you going to do?" I hung up. I had no words left, but one thing was clear. Nothing would ever be the same again. It was around 4 p.m. when Sophia finally called. I knew it was coming. I answered, trying to keep calm, though I could feel the tension in my voice. She immediately started talking about how wild last night had been. "I just woke up, it was crazy," she said. But I needed more than that. I had to hear her say it. I asked her flat out, "What did you do?" She hesitated before answering. We had fun. That wasn't what I wanted to hear, and it certainly didn't address the video. I could feel my patience wearing thin, so I pressed further. What about the strippers? Her response was quick. It wasn't my idea, the girls brought them. I didn't know about it. It wasn't adding up. I wasn't stupid, and I wasn't going to argue over the phone. I ended the call before things escalated. But then of course she kept calling. The phone buzzed nonstop, but I couldn't pick up. I didn't want to hear more excuses. I didn't know what I expected, but I definitely didn't expect her to show up at my door. When I opened it, there she was, standing with her purse in hand. I'm sorry, I know you're mad. Can we talk? She asked, and before I could say anything she walked right in. I was already angry, but I tried to hold it together. I said, I think it's time for you to leave. But she wasn't hearing it. She sat down, acting like everything was normal. She started denying everything. I swear I didn't do anything with the strippers. I don't know what you're talking about. It was the typical defense, the kind of denial that comes when someone isn't ready to face the truth. I had enough. I grabbed my phone, hit play on the video, and handed it to her. The room went silent as the footage played. There was no denying it. The look on her face was one of realization, and she couldn't speak. She stared at the phone completely still before finally breaking down. I was so drunk, she sobbed, her face twisted in guilt. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't mean for it to happen. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I told her I needed space, that I needed time to think, but she wasn't ready to accept that. We're supposed to get married tomorrow, she pleaded. There's no time for space. Her desperation was palpable, but I couldn't ignore what I saw. When I told her the wedding was off, her face twisted with pain, and for a moment I thought she might collapse. But then, without warning, she turned toward the kitchen. I can't live with myself if you do this, she said, her voice full of emotion. She grabbed a knife, holding it to her stomach. My heart raced and I rushed to stop her. I struggled to get the knife away from her, my hands shaking. I knew she wasn't in her right mind, but this wasn't the way to fix anything. After what felt like an eternity, I finally managed to hold her back. She was sobbing and I knew I had to calm her down. I lied to her, telling her the marriage was still on, just so she would find some peace. It worked and she fell asleep on the couch, tears staining her face. A few hours later, she woke up and said she was going to get ready for the wedding. See you tomorrow, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She left and I was left alone, still in disbelief over everything that had happened. I couldn't go through with it. I packed a bag, not even sure where I was headed, but I knew I had to leave. I couldn't stay in that place with all the wedding reminders. Once I was far away, I knew I had to make a decision. I posted it online, telling everyone the wedding was off. I didn't care about the backlash or the people who would try to convince me to forgive her. I turned off my phone and booked a last-minute flight out of town. I needed space, time to think, time to heal, or at least to start healing. It's been days now, and I'm still trying to process what happened. Every time I think about it, my mind gets lost in the details. I never saw this coming, and I never imagined my life would take such a turn. But now as I sit here far from home, I have to ask myself, did I make the right choice? If you were in my shoes, what would you have done? Would you have gone ahead with the wedding? Or would you have done what I did and ended it? I want to hear your thoughts, and if you've ever been in a situation like this, I'd love to hear your story. Thanks for listening.